We're not in front of the barn like we usually are, but
welcome to Amista.
That's what we always say. We usually hug or shake hands, but we can't do that now, so we'll do it virtually. And we're super excited to have you with us for this Taste Passport at Amista. And we have our wonderful winemaker. Where's Ashley? There she is. Wave, Ashley. Our wonderful winemaker, as always, with us at Passport. And she's going to be taking us through the wines today. And then we have Jack Kingsley. Wave your hand, Jack. Jack has been a member of our wine club since forever, I think. Before we built the tasting room, we used to have, Jack used to cook wonderful barbecues for us at our house, and now he still does that every Saturday of Passport, and Bruce and Mary down there help him. And we've learned that he's a fantastic chef, but it's an avocation, not his real job. But he's really good at it. So I hope for those of you who tried to make the menus today, or the recipes today, that you'll enjoy those. Also, we have found, Robert and Ashley and I have found, that what sounds good on paper doesn't always taste great in a pairing. And so we sit down every year at Passport before we pick the menus, and we taste through everything with our chef, and sometimes we say, oh, this needs a little less of this or a little more of that, or we need to replace this with something else. So we invite you to give us feedback. I hope Jack's okay with that. We certainly are.
Hey, feedback is a gift.
Feedback is a gift, right? And if you decided to make something different, we'd love to hear what you're pairing with this. All things are fine. Even those of you who are just here to taste, that's perfectly fine as well. So anything else you want to add, Mike, before we start?
No, I just hope that next year we can have you at Amista. We have a wonderful site now. We've got a beautiful patio now, much more room to spread out. So we certainly will welcome you as soon as you can come.
Yes, it's a solar powered patio that Mike spent the last year working on. So good for
Mike
you.
and Robert. Robert,
yes.
And I'm looking forward to coming to cook under the solar patio. So I'm happy to come do this live and in person as soon as we're allowed.
All right, sounds good. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to Ashley and Jack and let them take it away.
Yay! Well, hi guys, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I think if you guys have come to Amista during Passport, my spot is to sit in the front and pour the bubbles. So, we're gonna start with that. If you guys want to open your bottle of sparkling Grenache, we'll do a little toast and then we'll talk about the food pairings. We'll dive right in because that's my favorite part. I like to eat, so. Woo!
Wow.
So welcome everybody to virtual Passport 2020. So cheers. So this is our sparkling Grenache. This is actually grown right outside of the tasting room. It's that first block that you see off of our patio. We pick this really early, as you would any sparkling, so about 4 or 5 bricks earlier than a traditional still wine, and it goes straight to the press and gets just this tiny bit of color, because Grenache grapes are red, so we just want a tiny bit of blush color on it. And then it ferments for about 3 weeks at 55 degrees, and then just hangs out for a little bit until it goes into bottle for the secondary fermentation. It's bottled with a little bit of yeast and a little bit of sugar, and that's where you get all of the bubbles. So this is method champenois, as are all of our sparkling wines. So the traditional way to make champagne, and that's how they've been doing it in France for generations, and that's how we do it for us, for our wine. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. And let's talk about the food pairing, Jack.
Well, I think, I always think of, coming to a wine tasting or an event and you get handed that first glass of champagne or sparkling or bubbles, and it's always light and refreshing, and you just wanted something simple, one bite that has a little bit of the tartness or the richness of a goat cheese. And I thought a little citrus, so we used today a little lemon thyme mixed in with the goat cheese. So I went out to the garden this morning and found some lemon thyme, garnished it here with a little bit of lemon thyme flower that we had budding there, and a last minute kind of twist to give it just a touch more sweetness on top. We drizzled just a little bit of honey. So you can see here we, oops, should show it this way, have the endive spear with the herbs on top. So just a refreshing bite to complement the sparkling here today. And endive is always a good vehicle, whether you do it, you know, a goat cheese or something, you know, like that, or you could actually do a minced meat or some other ingredient in there. Sometimes we'll do a Thai salad and put it into the endive as well. But just really a nice way to you know, start the evening. So cheers.
That pairing was delicious. What did you guys all think of it, for those of you that made it? Any feedback?
I cannot hear.
Oh, she was asking me a question.
Sorry, Ashley.
Oh,
I'm here.
I was just saying, what did you think of the pairing? For whoever wanted to answer.
What did you think of it?
I thought it was delicious. I loved the goat cheese with the blanc de blanc, or with the sparkling grenache. It just sort of lifts all the aromatics, and the sparkling grenache has a lot of like really delicate, really pretty fruit tones. So the honey sort of brought that all out for me. I really liked it.
I like the honey.
Honey and yeah. And what I did is I tried to stay as, you know, local as possible on this one. I used a local creamy goat cheese as well. So I mean, any of those goat cheeses will work, whether you buy those logs you typically see in a grocery store. But for this, I you know, was lucky to find a bin. I can't remember the exact name of the local Sonoma County goat cheese to do this. So we're really trying to be as local as possible here with the, you know, herbs from the garden, but then also the, you know, local goat cheese.
I love that.
I love the little bit of lemon on the finish from the lemon thyme.
Yeah, it's really pretty. It goes really, really well with this wine.
And the lemon thyme is a really strong and hardy herb. You know, we didn't have to replant it. This lemon thyme bush has been growing in the garden since last year. It came right back in the spring and just kind of creeps out there in the garden, and you just prune it back a little bit, and it's as fresh and good as ever this summer.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm definitely going to be making this again. I really liked it.
But then other herbs to try, you could do marjoram, which is always one of my favorites with goat cheese. You know, marjoram is a great, you know, herb, kind of a little bit more on the oregano side. Works really well with goat cheese. If you want something a little heavier with goat cheese and marjoram, make that mixture and stuff it into zucchini blossoms, and you know, try to deep fry those. So you kind of have a deep fried zucchini blossom with goat cheese and herbs inside. So it's, you know, the goat cheese and some kind of a more bland wrapper is really what you're looking for. So it's a lot of fun.
That sounds amazing. I've got some squash blossoms out in my garden that are just starting to come up and bloom. So I might have to try that.
Vicki, what do you enjoy pairing with the sparkling grenache?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Well, two things, a glass and my lips. That's pretty much what I pair with.
Oh my gosh.
And I want to know if the dog got any, by the way.
If the dog got it.
Oh, and Nancy, did the dog? Yes, the dog. I just saw that.
Come down here. Because it's really good.
The wine is ours.
Wine is out. I just wanted to say, if anyone has any questions that they don't want to ask, you can always type them into the chat area, and I'm happy to read them out to everyone, so that, and they can be for Vicki and Mike, they can be for Ashley, for Jack and B, or share one of your favorite passport moments from the past.
That's so good.
Yes.
Well, I'll start with my favorite passport moment, or goes back to 2006 when I first met Mike and Vicki. We were Mike and Vicky were the new kids on the block, so to speak, in Dry Creek Valley, and they were hosting one of the Sunday morning vineyard tours. So we all showed up, probably a little bit worse for the wear, at 9 o'clock in the morning on a grizzly cold Sunday morning. And where the tasting room is now, I think there was a shipping container and a couple garbage cans flipped upside down with a piece of plywood and a big bucket of coffee and some Dunkin' Donuts or something, similar. And they're Mike and Vicky and their true form. They painted this vision of what Amista Vineyards was going to be like as we're standing around on this cold Sunday morning. And that was 2005, 2006, something like that. And somewhere on my computer, I have pictures of that morning. So that was kind of one of these memorable moments that has now turned into a long-term friendship and being one of the early members of the Amista Wine Club.
Yes, and just one correction, Jack, because I would hate it to be thought that what we served you was Dunkin' Donuts.
But there was some kind of breakfast pastry, wasn't there? I mean,
they were homemade pumpkin ginger muffins and
okay, stand correct.
little mint. I mean, we are not quite as accomplished as you at creating things, but we are foodies.
But then when I came to visit you at Harvest last year with that big box of Krispy Kreme for all the vineyard workers who were picking, I was a big hit on that morning now.
Oh yeah, Jack, you made a lot of best friends that day.
Yeah, my wife and I and our dog came out. We have a house just around the corner from Amista, just a mile up on Lipton Springs, and we came out one morning this fall when they were picking the Syrah and met Ashley and Robert and I can't even remember who else in the whole vineyard crew out there, and watched them pick. And it really gives you a different perspective when you see that part of the process and how much work it is to fill all those totes with the grapes and put them in the trailer behind the tractor and all that process, and just how fast it goes, and how the crew, they have these little knives in their hand and they're going like this, and it's like, get out of the way, because they're just moving.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is. It does give you a whole new perspective, I think. Just watching that whole process and how involved it is and how much labor it is. So it's not as easy as you think to pick grapes.
Oh, and I have to say, the whole crew was all full woman crew, female crew of vineyard workers, and they were strong as can be and worked so hard and fast. It was really quite a scene.
Yeah, it was awesome. All right, guys, let's move on to some Chardonnay. Mostly because I just want to try the shrimp. I've been staring them all afternoon. So we're going to be pouring our 2017 Chardonnay next. So you guys have that. I'll give you a moment to get some in your glass. Go. So this Chardonnay comes from the block. We call it the lemonade block. And it's called that because when we first put the block in, usually they put like sort of milk cartons around the vines to protect them, but they were actually lemonade cartons. And so the name just sort of stuck, and that's what we call it. But it's a Wente clone Chardonnay, and we pick it at about 23.5 to 24 bricks. It goes straight to the winery and is pressed right away. So just the same as what we did with our sparkling Grenache. We press it off the skins, and that juice goes to neutral barrels where it ferments for a few weeks, and then it stays in barrel. We don't rack it, stays on the leaves, and it doesn't get racked and combined until right before bottling. So it stays in barrel for about 11 months. But because it doesn't have any oak, it's really bright, really food friendly, and I'm so excited to try it with the shrimp. So Jack, you want to tell us about your dish?
Well, shrimp is always another great protein to serve in something like this. It's a little bit light, so I just simply took the shrimp this morning, and I put them in a bowl with a big squeeze of lemon juice, some salt, a little bit of cayenne for a little bit of heat, and then figured it'd be nice to make an aioli. And I cheated this morning because it was just a busy morning, so I'll be honest, I used mayonnaise and mixed that up with a little bit of lemon zest, and fortified it with a little bit of salt. And I had some tarragon from the garden. I chopped it up to give it a little bit of that anisey flavor as well. And then my wife here, who's kind of behind the scenes, she helped me with the presentation here. She's being very shy, but then we have a few edible flowers from the garden as well. So just a nice bite. These can be served room temperature, or you could just reheat them quickly after they've been grilled and what have you.
Oh my God, I love that pairing. Whoa, it brings out so much nuance in the Chardonnay. And there's already a lot going on. Really bright, pretty fruit, lots of pear, green apple, some lemon zest. But now with this, it's sort of taken on this like creamy element and like almost a little bit of like lemon verbena or like lemongrass character. I love it.
And actually, I was debating, should we use lemon or I had some lemon balm in the garden. I haven't really cooked with that before. I was thinking of using the lemon balm in this dish instead of lemon zest. So, a lemony herb, you might have gotten away with the lemon thyme again. Not really sure, but it's very simple. And I think just at the back of my tongue, I taste the cayenne. So it, kind of moving you through the whole continuum to a more savory dish, in the next pairing.
Delicious.
Really good, really good.
And I was just going to say, and probably Mike would agree, we're not always huge fans of tarragon, but this is really delicious in the aioli, and it works so well with the Chardonnay.
It really does. It really brightens, it brings out like all these different flavors in the Chardonnay that I weren't there on the first sip, it just really makes it pop. I love it.
I find a little bit of those kind of herbaceous characteristics in the Chardonnay with that.
Yeah, I think it's pleasant though. I don't feel like it's like overpowering the wine. I really like it.
Yeah, and I use lemon zest because I think it's a little bit of a stronger flavor, and whereas if you use lemon juice, sometimes it can be a little too maybe tart, and this way you can just put I just microplane a little bit of lemon zest over the bowl of mayonnaise and mix it together, and to make it a little bit thinner, I just added a little bit of water to the mayonnaise to give it a little bit more consistency that you want, so it wasn't too thick.
Very good. Now, did anybody else do a different pairing for this wine? I'm just curious. Well, I find our Chardonnay goes with a lot of foods, but it is sort of that balance of what is going to elevate the wine. And so I think this did a really good job of elevating the pairing and elevating the wine. It's very subtle, but it has so much going on. So really good job, Chef Jack.
So I learned something new, that you grew the Chardonnay using lemonade containers. And I always thought they were milk containers, but I always wondered, where do you get those? Because it's way too many to collect in your recycling bin every week to repurpose into the vineyard.
Yeah, I don't know where they got the lemonade containers, but they actually do sell cartons. They're just, they come flat and then you just pop them around the vine. So they do sell those, but I don't know where they got so many just lemonade ones. That's Mike and Vicki, do you know? I think it's the funniest thing.
We have a comment from the Thomas family in Whitehall that Oysters Rockefeller is great.
Oh.
Ooh. That sounds amazing.
That would be good.
That would be super good.
Everybody is loving this pairing, Jack.
Yeah.
This pairing.
And for me, I'm much more of a red wine drinker. So, while I'll drink Chardonnay in a pairing situation, I don't usually sit around and have a glass of Chardonnay. So I'm glad this worked out, because I'm not the most experienced in the Chardonnay pairing, to be honest.
You outdid yourself, I think.
Amazing. Yeah. Do we have
Hey,
any
Jack,
other questions before we go to the next one?
Terrific. Well, let's move forward. Jack, Great job.
Yeah, delicious. Okay, next up, I think we have the trace. So
Trace.
this is one of my favorite wines. So if you guys weren't aware, winemakers love to make blends. It is our favorite thing to do. You know, we like to let the grapes speak for themselves and, you know, let the vineyard shine. But where we get to shine is in making blends and putting them together. And it's so fun. So this is our 2017 Trace, and it's a Grenache Syrah Mourvedre blend. So we pick them all separately, we ferment them separately, and then right before bottling, they actually get blended. So they're all vinified separately, and all sort of each individual varietal, like the character of that varietal is really sussed out. You know, we want it to shine on its own, and then we bring them together. So like in the actual finished wine, you get a lot of orange blossom from the Grenache. You get a lot of heft and oomph on the finish from the Syrah. And the Mourvedre gives this really bright, high-toned cherry character. So it's a really nice layered wine and so much complexity. And I always like to tell this story, but when I started at Amista, Mike and Vicki were like, they were 100% vintage, vineyard, and varietal. So we didn't do any blending. And I was like, uh-oh, I love to blend. How are we gonna not do any blending? So after a few years, you know, we took a little bit of a chance and made this blend. And Mike, I think you can speak to this. Is this now your favorite wine? I don't know where Mike is, but I
Vicky's
swear.
got me muted.
Oh, there. Is this your favorite wine now, Mike?
It is my favorite wine, and we run out of it frequently.
We're out of it now, actually, except for this one bottle. So Robert, we're gonna be down doing our curbside pickup tomorrow.
You know what? This isn't my first rodeo with you two.
Oh my gosh.
I was very surprised when we first tasted this. I think I said it tasted like Pinot, and I hate Pinot. So everybody was quite surprised that I liked it, but it really is very nice. It just goes with everything. There's nothing I've tried it with that it didn't go with, including just sitting around drinking.
Yeah, this wine definitely like fills a lot of pockets. You know, it pairs with everything. It pairs with like really delicate foods. It pairs with, you know, heftier, you know, heartier foods. It pairs with spicy food. And like Mike said, it's delicate enough that you can just like sit on your porch and drink this. And sometimes when it's warmer out, I'll throw a bottle in the fridge for like 20 minutes before I drink it. And just then it's like a totally different wine, you know, and it's delicious. I love it. Jack, do you want to tell us about your food pairing with it?
So, you know, I wanted, you know, once again, a one bite food. So I thought, you know, let's, you know, move over to pork. So we're going to have, you know, beef in the next course. So kind of a mid-range protein. And then I said, you know, what can we do and, you know, keep it a little bit lean so it's not too heavy and unctuous. So I said pork tenderloin, and let's make lollipops out of it, or coins. And then, you know, I personally spend a lot of time in India, at least pre-COVID I did, you know, for work. So I've you know, spent a lot of time studying Indian food, you know, in my travels, and actually have a tandoor at home. So I said, you know, why not do a simple tandoor recipe? So the tandoori pork lollipops, that's what we came up with here. So just with the ginger and the garlic and the tandoori spice mixes, which, you know, it's basically, you know, everybody's kitchen in India has a different way of doing it. I did mine one way, and, you know, you can all do it, but it gives you that flavor with the garam masala and the coriander, a little turmeric, a little bit of chili, you know, depending on how much ginger and garlic you used. I told you guys to use cilantro. A lot of times you could also use fenugreek. Is the kind of green herb in there, typically dried. So it's a, you know, moves up a little bit in the flavor. It can be a little bit tart and you know, a little bit more of a strong flavor, but I think it goes well with the wine.
This is an amazing pairing. I love it.
You're unmuted.
Yum.
like this whole other side out in the wine. And also, this is so delicious. I love all the spices. Mm.
I'm surprised, Jack. I didn't think I'd like this, but boy, this is good. You hit the ball out of the park. Every one of these.
I mean, in India, you would never typically have tandoori pork. They eat very little pork in India, just given that there's a lot more vegetarian. You have, 40, 50% of the population is Muslim. So this is a little bit of I'd call this fusion.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, Dolores and John, you definitely have to make this tomorrow.
Spicy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
amazing.
really
The spices really bring out, like I do write in my tasting notes sometimes that the wine has some warmer, like baking spice notes, the trace does, and this just like makes everything pop. Oh my gosh. I absolutely love it.
and this you could just as easily do with chicken. Works really well. I saw an Indian chef recently from San Francisco who will make this and use the air fryer to cook it because it gives, that circulating air. It's a little bit more like a traditional tandoor. I used just a gas barbecue this morning. Probably even better if you use a charcoal barbecue because you get the smoky flavor of the drippings. So, a lot of different things, but you can do this with chicken. You can do it with pork. You probably wouldn't do it with a seafood. This is probably a little bit too strong. You could do it with Indian paneer, the cheese, the kind of Indian farmer's cheese. Any one of those would work really quite well. And, it does go well with a mint cilantro chutney, where you could just take a bunch of mint leaves and cilantro and whiz it around in the blender with a little bit of water, maybe a little bit of chili, or you can sometimes find the mint cilantro chutney in a grocery store, definitely an Indian grocery store.
Yeah.
So I have a question. This goes beautifully with the trace, but we just got through saying that everything goes well with the trace. So I'm curious to know what other things people are trying with it and whether you think it was a good pairing or not. That was Ashley's chicken. I mean, her rooster.
Over here.
Anybody want to unmute themselves and tell us what else you're having with this trace?
We're in Vegas, Mark, Joni, and Anna, and we're doing a charcuterie board.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, did it work?
It really does, but we love Jack's
It
last.
works well.
We love Jack's last pairing with the shrimp. I'm gonna make it again. That was great.
It was awesome, yeah. And this one's, you got to make this one too. The charcuterie goes really beautifully, I bet, but you got to try this. It's so
We
good.
will, we will.
And on the charcuterie side, just wanted to let everybody know that we have reopened and we are featuring a cheese and charcuterie box out on the patio. And this is, again, the perfect pairing for sitting out on the patio and enjoying the box.
I think I'm going to have to be down soon to come visit. Just I haven't had a nice cheese and charcuterie board, throughout this whole quarantine.
Yes, come see us soon, Jack.
And Dolores,
I will.
we would love to see you.
Hey, Robert. Hey, Vicki.
Hey, Ron. Leslie. How are my Colorado friends?
Oh, we're doing great out on the patio.
I know
So
this is where you always are.
Yeah, I know. So we did do the same thing. We paired this with some really nice charcuterie, but I bought 2 bottles of each. And after we're done here, we're going to try this and the Syrah with a tomahawk.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Everybody likes that.
Nice.
Nothing
My
wrong
God,
with a big old tomahawk. I'll tell you that. It was this morning when I was preparing this. I felt kind of weird at 10:30 this morning, cooking the ribeye for the next dish at 10:30 in the morning on my patio, And I have to say, I had an early lunch with a few of the scraps from the taco.
You and Moo Ping, right, Jack?
Moo Ping was actually at camp today. Moo Ping is Bees and my beagle puppy. So we actually we're preparing the house. Our house actually, and this is a little bit of a shameless plug, it's just a mile up the hill from Amista, and we use it as a rental property as well. And we just had long-term tenants move in to get out of the quarantine today. So we had the house all clean, and we just didn't think our beagle pup running around helping me cook was going to be, conducive to a clean house. So he's down in Windsor at camp. So we will pick him up soon.
So a question from a few people that were not quite as astute. What is a tomahawk? Besides, isn't that a...
It's a massive ribeye with a big long bone attached to it.
There's great presentation value in cooking a good tomahawk, isn't there?
Exactly.
Tell them we'll send pictures.
Yeah, we'll send you some pictures.
In Healdsburg, one of the restaurants, Valette, which is one of the popular restaurants in town, has done a great job of, quarantine family meals where they, serve some great tomahawk steaks and great big ribeyes to the, people who wanted to buy them. But they also are doing something called Valette Provisions, and they sold 60-ounce ribeyes that could have had a tomahawk bone attached to them. So the other day I went down and picked up a 60-ounce ribeye and had some friends when we kind of, bent the rules on quarantine. We burned that up on the grill, and it was really quite delicious.
That's a New York kind of thing, isn't it?
Well, any 60-ounce kind of steak is like a New York or Chicago kind of thing to do.
Oh.
We're a little more conservative here. We only take the pound-and-a-half ribeye. Nothing too big. No bones.
Diet ribeye.
Yes, or Texas. Texas, true. I agree.
Actually, I'm sure liking this trace.
So Ashley, the only
surprised. That's so weird.
why did it take you 2 or 3 years to convince us to do this blend?
I don't know, but I'm glad. I'm so glad that you guys are so great about being like, yeah, we should try that. That's how a lot of our wines have come to be, including the sparkling Grenache. We're like, I don't know, it might be good. We should try it. And Mike and Nikki are very supportive.
So
Wow.
Doug and John are very happy that Ashley was able to talk you into producing it.
So cute.
Actually, I understand we're planting some new grapes in a couple of weeks.
Yes, we are planting another white variety on, well, we're getting the grapes on Tuesday. We're planting them Wednesday morning, but we are planting Rousson, which is a Rhone white variety. It's a lot of times paired with Marsanne. So you'll see a lot of Marsanne Rousson blends. We are just doing a little bit of Rousson. And yeah, we're very excited, especially because it's been a long, arduous process trying to get these vines. It's been like a 4-year struggle, but we will have a new wine coming up. I mean, it's going to be still like 3 more years, but we're very excited to have this something new planted on our property to play around with. So you can look for that coming somewhat soon.
It's not going to be ready for 2 or 3 years, right?
Yeah, we won't even be able to pick the fruit for 3 years.
But are you using lemonade or milk containers this time?
I thought it was gonna be a surprise. I'll be out there Wednesday. We'll post some pictures. So if everybody looks at our Instagram, we'll do the lemonade or milk carton, question. So
We always have something in the mix. We're coming up with new ideas and new varietals and new blends to keep everyone excited about all the great wines that we have at Amista.
it also keeps it exciting for us too. We want to, make new things, keep it fun for you guys, and keep it fun for us, keep us on our toes too. So
I think next year we're going to buy some grapes from up valley, right? Some of these varietals so we can kind of get into the habit.
Yeah, I think we're sort of talking about picking some Grenache Blanc, Marsanne and Roussanne, and making a white blend for next harvest from one of our neighbors here in Dry Creek Valley, and just seeing how it goes. So you can look forward to that. And yeah, and then a few more fun things, maybe some new sparklings. I don't know, maybe some new red blends too.
Ashley, a question is, what are some of the flavor components that they can expect from a Roussanne?
Oh, that's a great question. So what I always think of Roussanne, it's a little more unctuous than a Chardonnay. So it feels a little bit fatter, but it's not. It's got some really nice floral notes, some really jasmine-y, really pretty floral notes. So Rhone, if you've had any of the Rhone wines, they all tend, so Grenache, Syrah, Mourvedre, Grenache Blanc, they all have these really nice floral notes. And I think that's sort of like just the character that they get in that valley. But it also has a little bit of sort of minerality, like sort of wet slate minerality to it. So they're really pretty, really balanced. I think they're great. Like a Roussanne is great for just drinking on its own. But it's also, you know, depending on the food, it can be very food friendly. It sort of fits in line with like a Riesling, like what that would pair with. They're very different. They're not the same, but you know, in like the spicier foods and things like that, it can stand up to those well. So it should be a really fun wine and really different wine than anything we have. So I'm very excited.
Now, I actually have an inquisitive question.
Uh-huh.
How would it be as a sparkling?
Oh, well.
Oh, Robert. Oh, Robert.
That's a leading question.
Hey, we
I
just
get
wanted
that
to
all
say
the
hi.
time, you know.
We haven't been outside, and so just wanted to say hi, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That was going to be my question. It looked like a whole party just joined us. Where are you all?
No, we've been outside on the patio, and so we can't get our video out there. But we cooked all the dishes. Food's been great. Wine's been spectacular. Just want to say thank you. This is Pleasanton, California.
The whole town of Pleasanton is there in your
We've been in
kitchen.
quarantine for like 3.5 months. So
I think
your
it's
wine
time
is
to
getting us
party.
through.
Party. Oh, well, that's what we like to hear. We love it.
All right, thank you. We're going back outside.
Okay, bye-bye. Thanks for joining.
I think we ought to invite everybody for the Friday evening social that we have.
Yeah.
What do you think? Should we invite everybody to join us on Friday afternoon at
FAC.
FAC 4 o'clock?
I'm muting you.
Mike's unmuted. Well, I'm so excited to eventually have parties again and have Passport. Like, I miss that energy of just being around lots of people personally, you know, in the wineries and in the tasting room. So we're very much looking forward to having, like, you know, Jack, I am so excited for your next year's Passport dinner because that's always my favorite thing. And I'm always like dead to the world. And then, you know, from talking to 1,000 people all day and then getting to have your delicious food is like a prize. It's like,
No, I mean, but the Passport dinner, I got to give full props to Bruce and Mary who are on there here as well, because it's you know, the co-conspirators in the whole thing. Bruce and I, you know, Bruce always over the barbecue and you know, burning his eyebrows off at the end of the day when we cook a barbecue for 45 people, and my lovely wife B making, you know, one of the greatest cheese and charcuterie plates on one of those 8 or 10 foot tables under, you know, under Mike's solar awning. So it's always a memorable thing to come in, and you know, we kind of have the agreement with Mike and Vicky that everybody shows up and all their staff, and we have a great barbecue. We come at 6 and have to be gone by 9 because it's a big long day for everybody. So we come and cook a big, you know, 4 or 5 dish meal on the barbecue, maybe the pizza oven, and you know, just have a lot of fun reminiscing and having fun.
absolutely. Bee's cheese plate is completely epic, and I try to replicate it all the time. She's gonna have to give me lessons I just can't quite master it.
Well, I have to give all the full props here today for all the presentation on the dishes here. My wife B, she you know, I cooked everything, and then she was out in the garden this morning, you know, cutting all these little herbs for the garden. Like this next dish here, we're using some sage with the, you know, full bloom of the flowers, and you know, all the different little dishware here that we, you know, dug out of the garage just for today. I mean, honestly, this is the first time we've kind of been out and about and been able to, you know, cook and have some fun with friends. You know, today, thanks to the generosity of Robert on the call, we're actually coming live from his kitchen, just down from Amista, because we needed a location to do this, and it just, you know, made sense to do it at Robert's house. But, you know, thanks so much to, you know, him and his family for letting us broadcast live from Sebastopol, California.
Thank you.
Yes.
Our pleasure.
Live from Sebastopol. I think B should do some webinars on food presentation. I would definitely watch those.
I would watch that.
What do you think, B? Is she there? B,
She's
come
here.
He's hiding.
I'm here with you.
There you are. You need to do some webinars on food presentation. You are amazing.
Thank you.
It just comes so naturally from her. She doesn't, you know, doesn't study, doesn't read the books. She,
Really?
you know, spent a few nights, you know, late into the night. I'd wake up at, you know, 2 o'clock in the morning, and she's there on her laptop searching around for this and that. And, you know, then 2 days later, all these boxes from Amazon come with the, you know, the right dish for this and that. And, you know, it's quite creative. And, you know, some of the family parties we've had for Thanksgiving and, you know, the setups that she comes up with are, you know, really just unbelievable. Okay, enough. One of the most shy people around too, and doesn't want to take the credit.
Okay, back to wine.
Jack,
Okay. Well, let's go to the last wine. I can't believe we've gotten through it this quickly, and I'm very excited for this one. So, although I have to say that when I was plating this, my 7-year-old was like, "Ooh, I'll have that," and ate like half the steak. So. But this is going to be our 2016 Syrah. So I'm very excited about this one.
And now, you know, given that it's a 2016 Syrah, I took a bottle of Syrah that I had down in the wine cellar, and to make the red onion jam for the dish, I used 3/4 of a bottle of Amista Syrah to make the red onions. You know, and I probably could have used any wine at, you know, a certain point to cook it down with the onions, but, you know, just to be true to the form and what we're doing here, we're drinking your wine or eating your wine in the onions, Ashley.
I love that. I love that sort of duplicity of the dish. That's awesome.
And
so, yeah, I'm looking forward to trying this one.
And I remember.
I myself back from trying everything before, even though I really wanted to. So I'm very excited about all this. So our 2016 Syrah. So most of you know, Syrah is one of our flagship wines. So it was the first thing Mike and Vicki planted when they bought the property. And we use Syrah in more wines than any other varietal. So as you all know, we make a sparkling Syrah. It goes into our fusion sparkling blend, goes into our trace, it goes into this, it actually even goes into our port. So it's a very versatile, like really amazing wine. And it's something that's like near and dear to my heart because you know exactly what it's gonna pair with. It's always really pretty. But it is also very different year to year. So Syrah really wears its vintage and you know what Mother Nature gives it. So, you know, some years we'll get these very like high-toned, really floral, crushed violet Syrahs, and in other years we'll get sort of bigger, fruitier Syrahs. And, you know, it sort of depends on the weather. And because of our proximity to Dry Creek, the actual creek itself, we have this really unique little microclimate that sort of does mimic the Rhone Valley. And so it is a really amazing place to grow these Rhone varietals, Syrah included. So, yeah. So this one.
Then I have an Amista Syrah memory. About 5 or 6 years ago, I had a group of people. We were doing a corporate offsite in Healdsburg, and we did a day of wine tasting. We ended up at Amista, and Mike and Vicki poured a Syrah vertical. So we did a 4 or 5 year Syrah vertical with cheese pairing at Amista, which was so much fun. And seeing, you know, the single vineyard type Syrah and the different years and the different tastes was just really a lot of fun. But, you know, I wanted to go a little bit bolder with this dish and figure out how to put the wine into the dish, and beef and wine always goes together, and the red onions really hold up on this, and the horseradish, depending if you use fresh horseradish or the prepared horseradish and how spicy it is, it gives a nice balance between the sweet and the spicy and the you know, kind of the unctuous, you know, fattiness of the ribeye in a small tortilla. I used corn tortillas today. Always really good if you have the time to go down and buy fresh masa and make your own tortillas. It just kicks it up a notch, but really a great dish. And I think it should also work with lamb as well. And, you know, probably all credit is due. I think at some point, some incarnation of this dish 10 or 15 years ago, I got out of a Bobby Flay cookbook. So there's probably some credit due to, you know, Bobby Flay on this one as well.
This is delicious with the wine. The red onion jam, oh my God. I know it has Syrah in it, but that just...
Jack, you're the devil.
Yeah, this is so good. I love it.
You just outdo yourself on each one.
Oh, what, Mike?
Say it again.
You outdo yourself on each one. This is just amazing.
Yeah.
I got to keep up with Ashley, right? I mean, you know, good wine with bad food with good wine. I mean, it just doesn't work, right? I mean, everything has to, you know, be in tandem here.
That's right. Ashley outdoes herself with each one.
So I didn't want to let Ashley down, you know, so.
You
That's
like
right.
brought some extra magic today, Jack. This is delicious. This just brings out so much of these like really bright fruit tones. Like I'm getting like a lot of like blueberry, cassis, raspberry in the wine, but then also some spice components and also like a real lift of the aromatics. Like and I am getting those floral notes, like a little bit of that crushed violet and just really pretty underlying floral tones, and even some like orange zest or like, you know, like dried orange rinds in the wine. After tasting it with the onions and with the dish, I don't know, it sort of makes everything pop for me. This is super good.
Jack,
how are you feeling?
Can we get you to cater the next passport, Jack?
Yeah.
You know,
I will do it.
well, let's see if Bruce will sign up to join with us here. But, you know,
Well,
maybe we won't sign up to cater passport, but we'd certainly sign up to, you know, cater a Friday evening event or a Saturday evening for this group and an expanded group like this, for sure.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Absolutely welcome, Jack.
So full disclosure to everybody out there, Jack made all of our food pairings and we got to pick them up. So we're going to have like from the source. So I feel very spoiled right now.
I feel kind of guilty.
I know.
But I'm getting,
this is
I'm
great.
getting
I mean, it's all about the community. I know B and I spend, you know, a good part of our lives up in Healdsburg, and Mike and Vicki and Ashley and Robert are, you know, such good people and friends of ours. And, you know, it's just, you know, the community now is, you know, reeling from what's going on in the world. And, you know, we're you know, anything we can do to, you know, help our friends out and, you know, kind of get things back to close to normal as we can. I mean, you know, I spend 8 hours a day or more on Zoom every single day, starting at, you know, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. And, you know, it's always serious about this customer, that customer. So this has been really just fun to do something very different.
So Jack, it would actually, I don't think you've talked about, you mentioned it, but I would like everybody to know that you have this amazing vacation rental by owner just 2 miles from us, right?
1 mile, Vicki. I timed it the other day when I walked the dog.
1 mile?
Exactly 1 mile.
Okay, 1 mile. So,
Just above.
so tell people about it, because some of the people on this call, on this Zoom meeting may want to stay there. It's beautiful and you can walk to Amista. Tell us.
Yeah, so thanks for that, Vicki. But we're right around the corner up on Litton Springs Road, right up on top of the hill, overlooking Dry Creek Valley, and we have a 3-bedroom, 4-bathroom house that'll sleep 8 to 10. 3 bedrooms, and we have a large game room downstairs that'll sleep 2 more couples or 1 more couple, depending on how you configure it. But swimming pool, hot tub, lovely views, full gourmet kitchen, and as Fia's reminding me, we just added a basketball hoop in the driveway for the young guests with kids, and but it's really a great oasis, and we have a lot of people coming up this summer who are trying to get away from San Francisco and what have you. It's been just a great thing. I mean, B and I will spend the weeks up there and then rent it on the weekends. Last summer, things are kind of a little bit different this year, but love to have anyone in the Amista family come and rent it and use it and enjoy it, really. And happy to talk to anybody about it, and come to us directly. Find us on Airbnb. It'll be better for all of you guys. And B and I'd be happy to host you there.
Jack, you've mentioned everything but its name.
Well, that's here on my apron. It's Decanter Healdsburg. So if you go to www.decanterhealdsburg.com, and there's a small little website that'll show you some pictures and some of the information. And happy to have all our friends from Amista, because Amista means making friends. Come and use the house and enjoy the environment and Amista wines and everything else Dry Creek Valley has to offer.
Jack, you could ask. I think Robert will tell people if they don't get that down, they can call Amista, ask for Robert, and Robert will forward you the information.
Yep. No, we have some brochures down there, and Robert, and Mike and Vicki have all been up at the house multiple times, and
Beautiful.
So.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place.
It's a great place if you're in for the exercise with the steps going up.
Move over, Jane Fonda.
Steps, but,
That's right.
As soon as we relax quarantine, I mean, last time I had dinner with you, we came down to your house and you cooked a killer paella, I remember. And next time we're going to return the favor. We'll help you up the steps, but we'll cook a great dinner up to the top of the hill.
Okay, so we live in a swamp. I can't help it.
Nah, you don't live in the swamp at all. You have such a great view over the vineyards and the sunset that comes down there, the west-facing view out of your kitchen, that big long island you have. But
So actually, one last pairing, and then we're gonna wind things up. Dolores and John were doing, no wait, I have to find it again. Oh, they were doing the trace with a lemongrass coconut braised bottom round roast.
Ooh.
I'll be right over.
Amazing.
It's kind of a Thai food. We did lemongrass.
Yeah, there's the almost empty bowl.
So is it round coconut milk braised, so lemongrass and coconut milk with beef, kind of slow cooked, or like a stew, or?
That's a yes.
That sounds great.
And they're willing to share the recipe.
Robert, can you they can talk? I would like to hear Dolores and John tell us.
Actually, they have to unmute themselves.
Oh, would you? Okay, good. They
I
did.
just unmuted us. We actually made this last time. This was leftovers, and it pairs better with the trace than it did with the peanut that I paired with it last time.
Really?
So,
See, everything pairs with the trace.
Yes, it does.
I would be
Very
happy.
So true.
That's a good one.
And I actually find a lot of times dishes like that are better the second day after the flavors really get a chance to meld and sit around. A lot of times the Indian or the Thai curries, they might taste great off the stove, but the next day after they've sat around in your fridge or whatever, and you take them out and heat them up again, they taste even better.
Yeah. This is a 4-hour braise. It's lemongrass. It's coconut milk. It's 2 chai chilies. It's garlic. It's onion. It's everything we love about food and everything I love about
Emphasis would be on yours.
Awesome. Send it to me and I'll put it on our website and I'll give you credit.
Absolutely.
I will remember.
It sounds a little bit like the Malaysian dip beef rendang.
Like I said.
Very similar to beef rendang.
Dang it, I didn't want to.
Yeah.
Like coconut curry.
Well, I can't tell you how much we appreciate the friendship that we have from all of you. It really means a lot. And there's faces that we've seen on other virtual tastings. There are our friends that we see at Passport every year, and we love it. It really warms my heart, and I know it does Vicki and Mike and Ashley. So as a special treat, because Passport is such a big joy for all of us because we get to connect with you. And 2020 was a year that the double digits we were excited about. We are, any of the wines that you have tasted today, we want to offer you specials, and we're getting into the summer, a lot of temperature controlled shipping. We're offering $20 temperature controlled shipping for anything that you send. And also, if you purchase 6 bottles, we're going to take $20 off from your purchase. And if you buy an additional 6 bottles, we'll take another 20 off. So that's $40 off on a case plus $20 temperature controlled shipping. So think about it. We'd love to.
Robert, that's like 2020, right?
2020.
2020 Passport. All right.
Just like Barbara Walters said, this is 2020. So if we can help you out with that, send those emails to tr@amistavineyards.com and we'll take care of those. Tammy, our tasting room manager, and myself, and your wine club coordinator, Hawes, we are right there to help out with those. And all the support and love that you've sent to us over certainly the last 3 months, but all the years that you've been in the club, we really appreciate it.
So Robert, I have a question.
Yes, Vicki.
Amista means making friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if any of their friends would like to take advantage of this little special thing, could they do that too?
Aren't we about making friends?
That's what that's what I thought. So so if you have friends that you've always been wanting to introduce to Amista, we'll make sure that you know all about this so that you can let them taste our wines too, and then they could be on a Zoom video and taste wonderful dishes.
Yeah, and Kurt Thomas's group that's out there, there's so many of them in Pleasanton. I think we might have a little bit of space for new club members from Pleasanton.
Yay, we'd love that.
To all our friends.
Hey, here's to friends. Thank you, everybody.
Cheers.
Here's the Passport. We'll see you next year, I hope.
Oh, for sure.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Robert.
Very nice job.
Our pleasure.
Bye.
All our love to you guys.
Thank you.
Where's the party? The party is back.
Okay, let's just stay doing this. We don't have to go. We can,
Okay.
we've got, I see a couple of bottles of wine.
Yeah, you need to send more wine then.
We can do that.
I bet you can.
Paul, I've got your number.
We can send it to Cleveland, no problem.
Yeah, credit cards, that's right.
Do you love that sun, what the sun is doing in Denver? Do you see that?
That's gorgeous. Oh my God.
That's so gorgeous.
Like the heavens are opening up.
And then Atlanta, look at all the trees.
Crap.
It's so amazing. Look at all these pretty things. I
Yeah,
love
we
it.
had to close
Robert,
our
why don't you come
blinds. It's
down
so
and
sunny.
take a picture with us down here?
And poor Jack is still in the kitchen.
Oh, come on, Robert. Come join me in the kitchen. Come
Here's to
join
you.
me and I.
Oh, no, you don't have to. Thank you. It was wonderful.
There goes
All right.
Robert.
Thank you, everybody.
Robert's gone.
Thank you.
Very good.
We met Rebel.
Thank-
Bye, Ron.
Thanks,
Bye,
everybody.
Leslie.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a
Thanks,
good
guys.
tomahawk.
Enjoy that tomahawk. Sure.
We will.
Send pictures of tomahawk.
Lead in here. Goodbye from Maryland.
Hold on. Here comes Robert.
Bye from Vegas.
Wait, they're the same face.
Oh, hey. Okay.
Good, John Boy.
Thanks, guys.
Good night, Atlanta.
Good night.
Good night, Ramon.
Good night.